welcome to Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable with JP
and Stacy D. Oh, we sounding good.
Yeah, we do.
You got your deep voice on, JP. What's up with that?
I was blasting in my ears. I'm like, ooh, how do I turn that down? I'm JP Craddock. This is the one and only Stacy D. Love. We are broadcasting here on KUAW Radio, which stands for Knowledge, Understanding,
and Wisdom. But it's hot in here. I have the fan. I have the fan on me. You know, it's not even that hot outside today, but boy, I'm sorry, JP. I can't even share the fan. Look at it. I got the fan right on me.
The fan is like a foot from your face.
Yes, because it's hot, and I have it on
blow
4.
your hair off. With
the
that
hair
fan.
is not moving.
Because you know Mr. Walker will catch he'll catch a shift. If your hair fly off and hit me in the face, I'll be traumatized.
I remember.
Well, actually, I could use the hair though.
Yeah,
clearly. Because my hair ran off of my head like there was an actual fire. Yeah. Okay, coming up on the show today, right after our check-in, we have a diagnosis that we did not get to last week. So here's what I'm proposing that we do.
Okay.
After the check-in, let's go ahead and do this. And then after we cover this diagnosis, which is what is reactive attachment disorder and what causes it? That's our question of the day for today. Mm-hmm. And what is disinhibited social engagement disorder and what causes that? So that's our question of the day. I'm wanting us to get to that.
Most
so
definitely.
Let's do that after our check-in. And then after we get done with that, we can do mental health and illness in the news.
That sounds good.
Okay, great.
I can work with that because I have a very small check-in.
Okay, what is it, dear?
Okay. You know, I'm actually like one of the matriarchs in the family now. You know, which is a good thing. You know, everybody look up for me. But these little young girls be trying to challenge me on a twerking contest.
Oh, Lord.
They're dropping it like it's hot.
Okay.
So on the 4th, we had to do a twerking contest.
Now, the D, for those who do not know, we've talked about this on the show before. She's a drop it like it's hot sister from back in the day, okay?
Back in the day.
Like
it's thick contests, all that.
We used to go and watch her compete and drop it like it's hot, thick contest, whatever contest that she was dancing in. We was there. We had her back.
Okay,
but twerking, isn't that new on your list, D? Was you? I don't remember you twerking. Twerking wasn't around back then.
No, twerking wasn't around.
But I added that.
Yeah, I have added that.
Oh.
Well, what happened was that so basically it was like a lap dance.
A lap dance
contest. Yeah.
Oh Lord,
yeah.
Mr. Walker must not be listening. Can we talk about lap dances on the show? We're gonna get censored again.
Well, anyway, I did win, but I won because
you won.
Yeah, I won.
Wow.
I won again because I took my leg and I put it up on the guy's head like there.
Oh Lord! Did he have hair? Did he have hair or
he had a hat on? He had a hat
on. You knocked that off.
No, I kept it on there. That's why it was so cold.
Oh.
Yeah, I was standing up. He was sitting down.
You are able to get your leg up.
Effortless.
Wow. Because I ain't going to say the D's age. I'm going to say.
While I was up there.
These are new skills that you added.
New skills.
These are skills that she didn't have like back in the day.
Off the cuff.
Wait, you added them that day?
Yeah, that day.
What are the effects of this?
I can't hardly work right now.
It takes 4 steps. Listen to this. The studio has been moved to the lower level. It takes
Thank the Lord, because I wouldn't be able to go up all them stairs.
And it's not even upstairs. It's 4 steps down to get into the studio, and she was barely coming down them 4 steps, y'all.
Yeah.
I said, oh, Lord, she can't get down 4 steps. But D, that does not matter. The only thing that matters is that you twerked. You dropped it. You was hot. Your leg was up. Oh, the D is back. When's the next contest?
Back. I hope it's not one.
Right. The D is not back.
I hope it's not one. And then I fell the other day. I just like got to be more careful. Yeah, me and the falls are not doing.
You
well.
are caught in between your youthful self, and if you start in the fall, that's a whole next
But
phase
no,
of
that's-
life. D.
No.
Are you there?
No. It's not about that. I have vertigo.
Oh,
So it just
okay.
messes with my equilibrium and, my ear infections and all of that.
Okay.
It just messes with me if I'm not very mindful, if I go too fast, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, I found that I was because, I live in, my house is split level, and I ended up at the door.
See, this is a good thing that your daughter is there. You always talking about your daughter needing to move
She
out.
wasn't even there when I fell.
Oh, she wasn't there when she needed to
Hell
be?
no.
Oh, I've been trying to help her out.
She wasn't even there.
Okay. I need for her to be there when she needs to be there. Are you gonna go back to saying she need to move when
Yes, she does need to move. She'll be moving in the last quarter of 2022.
I think you're gonna be sad when she moves.
I really am. But then I'm going to get happy again.
Do you really want her to move?
Yeah, I really want my own space. You got to understand, I had a baby at 14. So from 0 to 14, from 0 to probably 8, I had my own. And then my mom started having sons. So then I had to share my space.
And then you had your own kid.
Then I had my own kid.
Okay.
And I'm still do not have my own space. I really want my own space.
Because one of the benefits of starting parenting
Come on now.
young is that you have time to kick it at this stage of life.
Yes.
Now, we're not going to go into this too much and we keep talking about it. We are going to do a show on young parenting versus old
school
parenting, because
parenting.
the D started at 14 and I started
At 54.
I did not start at 54.
Talking about birthdays. Hey, because you're going to get in trouble. Happy birthday to Miss Nadine, Gerald's wife. Sasha's mom.
It's not till August.
But what the hell, it came up there? Okay, scratch it. It came up on my Facebook.
This woman wasn't born yet.
So why her stuff come up as her birthday?
It could not have come up.
Okay, well, scratch it. It's not to next month.
That's somebody else named Nadine. That ain't my wife. If it is, I'm in big
Okay, so
trouble.
we are live. So can we scoot this back like
we
5
always
seconds?
No, because we live.
Because we live.
It's out there.
It's out there. Oh, well.
Honey, happy birthday early.
Happy birthday early. So you
From
got to
the
go
D.
go get some flowers.
Let me tell you what's going to happen later when Sasha watches this. My daughter, Sashi Boo.
Sasha Boo.
She always immediately screams out,
Stacy D.
"That's Stacy D!" And now she's going to be walking around telling Nadine happy birthday. Because my baby 3, she's like, it's mommy's birthday?
It's mommy's birthday?
Happy. And we ain't going to be able to help her to understand that it ain't her mommy's birthday.
Well, she can have a birthday for 30 days.
I'm probably going to have to go buy a cake and everything.
Oh, you know she's going to want to do that.
She's all for that. Okay, let's get to our question of the day because I have some interesting stuff for mental health and illness in the news because we're going to cover these 2 diagnoses. And if we get through these, I'm going to cover 3 more diagnoses under mental health and illness in the news
Are they going to tie
as
in
they
together?
pertain to some celebrities.
Oh, well, hell, all them cuckoo for Cocoa Pops
Well, but it's good to define the cuckoo.
and the Cocoa Pops.
And the Cocoa Pops. Okay, so question of the day. What is reactive attachment disorder and what causes it? What is disinhibited social engagement disorder and what causes that? And so, as I was explaining last week, even though we didn't have time to cover the diagnoses, this used to be one diagnosis under reactive attachment disorder, and it was broken down into disinhibited type and inhibited type. So now they've separated it so that it is just reactive attachment disorder, which used to be called inhibited type. And then the disinhibited type is now a whole nother diagnosis unto itself. What is disinhibited social engagement disorder? This would be a good time because on our Facebook page, we have a printable diagnostic tracking form that you all can print off and go through, the checklist as we cover the symptoms in case you want to diagnose yourself or someone with this diagnosis. Now, you ain't official when you do it because, but I think it's always good to show up to therapy knowing a little bit about what is going on with you or what is going on with your children or grandchildren or whoever. So it would be a good thing to go ahead and track these symptoms. Okay, so as always, when we cover diagnosis on here, we don't play all that Google crap and everything, because I got clients coming to my office who think they showing up informed like I would like for people to do, but if everything they have is from Google and it's like 50% of it is inaccurate. When we cover diagnosis on this show, it's always from the DSM-5, okay, which is the Therapist Bible. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna get straight to this now, D, because I know you might be wondering. I kind of reversed the order of covering the symptoms because the 999 psychiatrists who wrote the DSM-5, they didn't get it right. So the 999 therapists, and they actually forgot and left JP out. Psychiatrist.
The hell with them.
Right.
They come and call you for some assistance.
Well, the psychiatrists.
They don't know nothing.
Clearly.
They didn't know nothing. You better call JP.
They think because they went through 12 years of school and have an MD behind their name that they got this right. They didn't get this right. So
because guess what? You did half of what they did. And on 300,000 less. And no more. They better ask somebody. Come on, JP.
Okay, so here's what I switched.
Okay.
And the reason why I switched it is because what they have listed as the first criteria, I switched it because what I think should be the first criteria is what actually causes the diagnosis. So I didn't understand starting with the symptoms without starting with the cause. That didn't make sense to me. Okay, so symptom number 1, the child has experienced a pattern of extremes of insufficient care as evidenced by at least one of the following. Okay, because this is a diagnosis that is diagnosed in childhood.
That's what I was finna bring up. This is a childhood diagnosis.
Yes. It can carry on and the symptoms can continue into adulthood, but it is caused in childhood. Mm-hmm. And so pattern of extremes of insufficient care. Basically what this is saying is that how you raise your child can result in them either trusting you and bonding and attaching to you because there is trust and they can depend on you to properly care for them. If that proper care does not take place, which is what this is getting into, they can develop problems in attaching. They do not trust adult figures.
Exactly.
So they don't attach. The bonding, the attachment, the love ends up being severely damaged.
And it's terrible. And we see this a lot in foster care children.
I would go so far as to say 80 to 99% of foster kids.
Yes.
Among other diagnoses, they will oftentimes have this. Okay, so let's take a look at what the extremes of insufficient care are. Number 1, okay, so if you're going through the checklist, this is where you start, you write this down and check it as a symptom, okay? Social neglect or deprivation in the form of persistent lack of having basic emotional needs for comfort. When a child, when they fall, do you pick them up? Do you hug them? Do you kiss the boo-boo? Do you attend to them, or do you ignore it and tell them, gone somewhere? Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Okay, now I did do that to my boys.
Well, you was 14, hell.
No, yeah, but I did to my boys.
You did it last week. Her kids is like 30-something years old.
I did do, but it's like all the time. Not when the one time, because I have a little niece that, oh my gosh, she's just a whiner. And I'll be like, girl, be quiet. You okay, gone.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, D. It requires
That's
a
why I said
multitude
it's
of these
all
symptoms.
the time.
Yeah. So
So me just doing it that when they see me once
They
a
are.
year, yeah.
they are. D.
And also, y'all, this is also the kids that were put into closets and things of that nature, not being able to go outside and things of that.
Yes, the lack of social engagement and connecting with other people as well. You know, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, friends, all of that. Okay, so social neglect or deprivation in the form of persistent lack of having basic emotional needs for comfort, stimulation, and affection met by caregiving adults. Okay, so that's very important.
Very
okay, so
important.
that's number one. Okay, if you know a child, you're diagnosing a child right now, you want to put that down. Number two, repeated changes of primary caregivers that limit opportunities to form stable attachments. Example given, frequent changes in foster care, as the D was talking about. I have had kids in therapy who, by the time I got to them at 16, they had been in 25, 30 foster homes. Literally. This is not an exaggeration. And so what caused the foster placements to disrupt was their behavior. But the negative behavior stemmed from the trauma from the past abuse, PTSD, and that abuse also causing reactive attachment disorder, because kids with this diagnosis will exhibit a lot of negative behaviors because they aren't attaching.
Nothing means nothing.
Right. And a lot of why kids behave themselves is not because of the rewards and consequences that you have in place as a part of behavior modification. The majority of their willingness to behave is because of their attachment to you. So kids who are in the foster care system bouncing from home to home to home, they aren't even there long enough to attach. They have attachment disorder. And so if they're not attached to the foster parent, of course they gonna wake up in the middle of the night and go in the kitchen and steal all the food. Of course they're going to punch all the other foster kids in the face whenever they get the whim to do so, because they ain't attached to the foster parents, they ain't attached to the foster kids. They like, I'm alone in this world.
They're not even attached to things.
Yes, and they are alone in the world because of the lack of attachment to their parents due to abuse and neglect. That will cause negative behaviors, and so it just results in more and more disruptive placements. Okay, number three, rearing in unusual settings that severely limit opportunities to form selective attachments. Example given, institutions with high child to caregiver ratios. Okay, so these are kids who, in addition to having bounced around from foster home to foster home, they're in and out of treatment centers and group homes and places like that. And the ratio, like when I worked in residential treatment, it was me and one other staff member to like 20 kids. Like we was on the largest unit. And so that's not a typical environment that a kid is supposed to grow up in. When a kid grows up in a home, they are going to be able, even if you have 5 or 6 kids, they're not sharing you with 20 other people. So attachment can take place. Attachment can't take place to people who are staff. Not that I did not form wonderful relationships with the kids, but I was there for 8 hours a day. I was staff. You're not appearing to be a father figure when you are doing an 8-hour shift and the kids are sharing you with 20 other people. And so that also causes attachment disorder. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the other symptoms that they listed first, and I just moved them around. That's all I did. I didn't change the DSM, y'all, because
I think we need to go and invent our own DSM.
Let me, y'all see this book, The D's Trippin', okay? The book I wrote is like this thick. Okay, so a consistent pattern of inhibited, emotionally withdrawn behavior towards adult caregivers manifested by both of the following. And so what they're getting into is what it looks like in the kid, which is the reason why I switched it. You start with what caused it.
What caused it?
Then you get into what it looks
How
like.
it looks.
Okay, come on, 999 psychiatrists. All right.
Just needed some couple of social workers.
That's right. Okay. The child rarely or minimally seeks comfort when distressed. If you see a child and you're wondering about reactive attachment disorder, do they have an attachment disorder? You're going to see that. When they are in distress, they are not running to you for comfort and all of that and kiss my boo-boo. They don't do that. You know, my 3-year-old, even when ain't nothing wrong with her, okay, I had a Band-Aid on. I looked up, she done put a Band-Aid on. She's like, Daddy, I hurt my knee. Girl,
You ain't heard nothing.
you ain't hurt nothing.
But guess what? Her daddy hurts, and she hurts because she's attached.
And whenever she is hurt, we pick her up. We soothe her. She starting crying. Them tears come, them for real tears. I'm damn near crying with her. Oh, my
is it
baby.
fake tears too? Does
No,
she do
her-
fake tears?
She has her, oh yeah, of course.
She's a diva.
Don't know tears come, but that's just when she's pissed.
Yeah.
Okay. When when her feelings are actually hurt, or when she has actually hurt herself, like her cheeks be wet, and we soothe her. And so kids who have attachment disorder, because I've been a foster parent also, when they hurt themselves, they gone off by themselves because they're not even they can't even fathom that
Some of them may not even cry.
right, and they cannot fathom that an adult would even care that they hurt themselves anyway. These are kids who, when they come home from school, if they've experienced bullying and different things like that, where most kids would come to the parents and say, "This is what happened," and da 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 da. They are alone on the planet. In their mind, they don't even know that they have the option of turning to you for comfort. Attachment disorder. Okay. So, the child rarely or minimally seeks comfort when distressed. And then number 2 is the child rarely or minimally responds to comfort when they are distressed. And so when me and my wife, when we have had kids in our home who had attachment disorder, even when we would try to comfort them and nurture them, they would start off very like, what's going on, right? What's going on right now? Well, you hurt yourself. We just need to be sure that you're okay. Like we need to be sure that you're okay. We need to try to take care of this. Because, I zoomed urgent care in the New York Minute. My baby.
They know you by name.
They know we walk in urgent care. They like, hi, Sasha. And they look at me like, ain't nothing wrong with her. I don't know. That's why we here. And so, but yes, kids with attachment disorder, they're like, now, as time goes by, if we have them in our home long enough and they begin to know us
long enough
and know that that's who we are, that we are truly nurturing them and trying to take care of them, you begin to sand down those rough edges of attachment disorder. Okay.
And they start gaining trust.
Yes. Okay, so here's the next set of symptoms. A persistent social and emotional disturbance characterized by at least 2 of the following. 1, there's 3, but we need 2 out of these 3. 1, minimal social and emotional responsiveness to others. Okay, so if somebody else fall and hurt themselves, they like, you can be bleeding, and they like, and carry on. 2, limited positive affect. Now, let me explain affect, because this is a clinical term. It looks like affect. And this is something when people Google stuff and they come in, they like, well, my affect was off.
What's your affect?
The damn hell is that? Affect is the outward presentation of our mood. So our mood is how we say we feel. See, I feel real good right now because love doing the show with the D. Me and the D have a good time.
Yes,
My
we do.
affect is the outward presentation of that. So if I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm just kicking it with the
his
D.
hands all up.
I'm kicking it with the D. That's my affect. And so kids with attachment disorder, they have limited positive affect. Now, they negative affect, it's not limited. When they pissed, you gonna know. And they get pissed real fast, and they don't hide that. But positive emotions, you're not gonna see a lot of that. Okay, the third one, and need 2 out of the 3, is episodes of unexplained irritability, sadness, or fearfulness that are evident even during non-threatening interactions with adult caregivers. And this is because their parents did not nurture and love and attach to them. So an adult who's trying to do that, they get nervous, irritable. They like you trying to soothe and console and nurture and hug, and they like, I'm ready to punch you in the face. Like, I don't know what's going on. Back up off of me. Those are the effects of attachment disorder. Okay, so the care in criteria C, which is what I started with, which was the causes. Okay, they're talking about the parents now, is presumed to be responsible for the disturbed behavior in criteria A, which is the symptoms that I just covered that you see in the kid. Example given, the disturbances in criteria A, what caused it, began following the lack of adequate care in C. Okay, and so basically it's just saying that if you do not attach and bond to your children, somebody needs to, if you high and strung out, the grandparents need to do it, auntie, uncle, kids need adult care and nurturing and affection. That's all it's saying. And if they do not get it, it's going to cause this diagnosis. Okay. Now, here's some exclusionary things. The criteria are not met for autism spectrum disorder. Okay.
Totally different.
Because autistic kids will look like they have attachment disorder. But if the kid meets the criteria and is diagnosed with autism, you don't diagnose them with this. Because it's because of autism that they have these symptoms. Okay. The disturbance is evident before age 5. This makes it hard when it comes to diagnosing, because oftentimes I'm seeing kids in therapy who are teenagers, but the symptoms are still there. You just have to gather a little bit of family history to try to see what was taking place or not taking place between them and the parents from birth to 5. Okay. But really, if you don't get that information, because with foster kids, sometimes you're not going to have that information. This diagnosis can still be made. Okay. And the psychiatrist should have noted that, but they didn't. Okay.
Once again, they should have called JP.
Right. The child has a developmental age of at least 9 months. Okay. So they need to just developmentally. All right. Specify in diagnosing this, what the therapist will do is specify if the disorder has been present for more than 12 months, which typically it always is. Okay. And then specify the severity, yada, yada, yada. We're not going to get into all of that because I'm not diagnosing an actual person right now. Okay. So that is reactive attachment disorder. A lot of people just call it either RAD or they call it attachment disorder. But if you hear someone talking about a person who has attachment disorder, this is what they're talking about. Now, in adults, what this can look like is a person who is a bit of a loner, introverted, a little isolative, like they don't have many friends or a really small circle of friends, and even with those friendships, it's not going to be the level of bonding and ride or die for 30 years kind of friends that you might have. The relationships will lack that sense of trust that, okay, this is a friend and we're always going to be here for each other, and I can count on them to be there for me. Okay. But here's the thing that is not covered in this. This diagnosis is absolutely treatable, and kids can overcome this diagnosis. They can. But what it requires is, one, not bouncing from home to home to home. Okay. They need consistency, and they need for the parent that is fostering or adopting them, oftentimes in adoption, that's what it takes in order to overcome this diagnosis. The kid, the adult has to be able to ride out all them negative behaviors and anger and all of those different things. And so as you hang in there with the kid, they begin to have a new experience of interactions with an adult. Like, okay, so all adults don't abandon me. All adults don't reject me. All adults don't abuse me physically, sexually, all of these, because all of those are the things that causes attachment disorder. Emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. It's not just neglect. It's usually abuse. And so as they see that you are there for them and you're not going anywhere, and you're going to ride it out with them and support them and get them the proper therapy and all of those things, that's when you begin to chip away at the attachment disorder, because they slowly begin to trust you that you will be there for them.
Not going nowhere.
You're not going anywhere, and they can count on you. And so this is a diagnosis that does
Without
not
medications.
have to be permanent. Okay, so that is attachment disorder. Okay, now, how much time? We good on time. Let's get to disinhibited social engagement disorder, because the attachment disorder, people who don't attach as a result of abuse and neglect. Disinhibited social engagement disorder is the opposite effect, but it is the effect of abuse and neglect.
Still. After COVID.
Dang COVID leftovers. Okay. For 3 weeks.
I know, still.
When they say long COVID, they mean it.
Long COVID.
Real
After COVID.
Real long COVID. Thank you, Professor. The professor's bringing.
We have the professor in the studio today.
Look, and he brought disinfectant.
And he's in here in his mask. I'm not mad at him.
I've been tested negative for weeks now.
Maybe your test wasn't right.
My test is right. This is the long COVID. It ain't the COVID. Okay. Some people, kids who experience abuse and neglect, respond by not attaching to adults, as we said, because they like, I don't trust y'all don't treat me right. Other people have the opposite effect, and they are so deprived of attachment that they quickly attach to any and everybody. Mm-hmm. This is the disinhibited version of an attachment disorder, because they are these are your young people who they can meet a kid on Monday.
Their new best friend.
That's their new best friend. You like, what's his last name?
I don't know yet, but I'm gonna ask tomorrow. But this is my new best friend.
And we're gonna be friends
forever.
Yes. And let me tell you, meet a girl. Oh, I'm in love. We're getting married. We're gonna make babies.
She break up. He start cutting himself. Oh,
out of control. Yes. D.
That's for another time.
Yeah, but you're right. Because I don't know if we're going to have time to cover that.
We're not going to have time.
That in your adolescence, they can drop down into extreme levels of depression and start self-mutilating and all these. And these are people who, they always in love with somebody. They meet them, they fall in love instantly. They are for real love at first sight people. And when the relationship ends, their world crumbles. But they will bounce back. They're going to be in love with somebody else.
The next week.
Okay, so disinhibited social engagement disorder. Okay, the criteria is the same as in attachment disorder with regards to the child has experienced a pattern of extremes and insufficient care as evidenced by at least one of the following. So everything we covered before about abuse and neglect, that is the first criteria in this. Because remember what I said, they used to be one diagnosis. So I'm not going to go over all of that again. The second one is a pattern of behavior in which a child actively approaches and interacts with unfamiliar adults and exhibits at least two of the following, which means people who are disinhibited, who have disinhibited social engagement disorder. If you a foster parent, you take them out in public.
You're gonna lose them, number one.
Because they're going to be in some stranger's face, chatting like they have known them forever. And if y'all there long enough, that person is going to be their new person. Okay? Like if it's an adult, they going to be like, this is the best adult. This is my new mama. This is my new daddy.
I don't want to go.
If it's another kid, it's going to be their best friend or their new boyfriend or their new girlfriend. Like, this is what happens. It's literally disinhibited. Okay? So, here is how that can look. And the person has to have at least two of these four symptoms. One, reduced or absent reticence in approaching and interacting with unfamiliar adults. They all up in grown people's faces. And I have had adults who get very uncomfortable with this because they're like, oh my, who is this?
And you should.
Who is this child? Why are they dang near? Why are they in my face like this? Because they have disinhibited social engagement disorder. Number two, overly familiar verbal or physical behavior that is not consistent with culturally sanctioned. Dang, I can't get that out. Culturally sanctioned.
Long COVID.
Got it. What's the braid part of long COVID? Foggy braid. Okay.
Foggy braid.
And with age appropriate social boundaries. Okay, so this is, overly familiar verbal or physical behavior. This is just like they'll be huggy and clingy and will say things that it's like you just met that person. Yeah, you just met them, and why did you tell them your whole life story and you don't love them? You just met them. Yeah. Number three,
boundaries.
Poor boundaries. That's it. Thank you, Dee. Diminished or absent checking back with the adult caregiver after venturing away, even in unfamiliar settings, which means when you take them out in public, you take them to the city market, they gonna walk off.
You're gonna lose
and they ain't coming back to look for you. Like, they are in somebody's face. You gonna have to go look for them. These are not kids that you like, well, let's wait here and see if little Johnny comes. Little Johnny's not coming back.
Johnny's not coming back.
He gone. Okay. Number four.
Get on somebody's nerves.
And making some grown person nervous. They are praying for you to show up. Like, please come get your child. Willingness to go off with an unfamiliar adult with minimal or no hesitation. So if they roll up on the wrong adult, they are easily kidnapped. They will get in the car. They not kicking. They're not screaming. These are the kind of kids that kidnappers and sexual predators look for, because they're so starved for attachment as a result of abuse that if an adult is giving them attention, they're going to go with them. They don't care that it's a big white van with no windows and the adult looks real scary. He don't look scary to them.
Me.
They like, where are we going? This is the reason why, if you're a foster parent, you better go find them kids. You better go find them kids quick. Okay. The behavior in criteria A, the abuse and neglect, are not limited to impulsivity. Okay. Which means this isn't because of ADHD that they are impulsively running off when you take them somewhere and all up in people's face. No. But it does include socially disinhibited behavior, as we said before. Okay, so the care in criteria C is presumed to be responsible, the adults, the parents, are responsible for the disturbed behavior that you are witnessing in the child, like it's caused by the poor parenting. And then the child has a developmental stage of at least 9. Okay, so that is disinhibited social engagement disorder. We covered reactive attachment disorder. They don't attach because of abuse and neglect. We covered disinhibited social engagement disorder. They hugging and loving everybody as a result of abuse and neglect.
And also as teenagers, these are the ones that are the hoes. Can we say hoes on the air?
Well, you just did, so hopefully so.
Okay. I mean, seriously, these are the ones that's doing
Promiscuous.
that. Yeah, that's a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones, and you're just like, why are they doing it? And mind you, it can be the most prettiest girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, yes, they do get labeled as being like the hoe in high school. But they're looking for attachment.
Looking for an attachment.
And what these young girls realize is that they can get attention with their vagina because boys will pay attention to their vagina. I don't know if we can say that, D. I don't even know that word you just made up. that word you just made up was a little too close.
I told you I need my own dictionary.
The D will make up a word, but that one,
that was a good one, though, wasn't it?
I like that. but I don't know if Mr. Walker's gonna be pleased with that one.
We're gonna be in trouble again. Okay,
Yes.
always. Oh my God, I need to do better.
But what happens with these young girls that everybody just says, she a hoe, she a hoe, she a hoe, and she's engaging in promiscuity, is if she has a history of childhood abuse and neglect, she is attention seeking. And once she gets to the age where boys are willing to pay attention to her, then she's going to be willing to do whatever she has to do in order to grab and maintain their attention. And so if the boys, whatever level they want to take it to, she's like,
it's going.
We can go there.
It's going. Because sky's the limit.
She wants that attention, and she's engaging in sex for the attention, the affection, the warmth of a physical body upon hers. The boys just trying to get laid.
Get a good time.
Right. And are taking advantage of her unhealthy sexuality that is rooted in childhood trauma.
Wow.
So, all right. Ooh, I think we covered that well, D. Did we cover that well?
We did real good. Give me some.
We covered that. All right.
Hope I didn't catch no long COVID.
D, you can't catch long COVID. You can't catch it.
We don't know.
We
don't know.
New info coming out about COVID all the time.
All the time.
At this point, they say
we're going to leave COVID alone before we get censored on COVID too, okay? Hey.
Oh, Lord, you're right. Because we always do.
I know.
I'm
going to do a
we need
sign. Leave us alone. Did they get the memo about the name of our show?
We speak
the unspeakable.
And everything, it was frustrating because everything we presented was factual information, and we got censored. But I've talked to other people who have shows, and they said that they experienced the same thing. It doesn't matter.
That's good.
They just do not want COVID discussed, period. And so hopefully we ain't gonna get censored.
I hope not. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get to. But she's really not. Let's get to mental health and illness in the news.
Now, great time in JP.
Of course, and we're not gonna, because I know the D. You are just. She is.
Are you gonna talk about R. Kelly again?
No.
Oh, okay.
We did talk about him on the podcast last night, though. You might want to check that out.
No, I'm not.
Oh, really? Because you and one of the co-hosts of my podcast are in absolute agreement.
Who? Which one?
You know which one.
No.
You know which one.
LV?
Yes.
Maybe we are connected. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Please don't be connecting over R. Kelly.
Okay, come on.
Okay. The Illinois shooting on the 4th of July. I know, D, this is emotionally draining for you. I know, but I have to cover this one
Okay, go
piece
ahead
of
on.
it.
Go ahead on. I told you.
Because this is so heart-wrenching.
Hard about this.
A 2-year-old was orphaned after his mother and father were killed in that
Senseless.
shooting. And the baby's name is Aiden McCarthy.
Which the baby, hold on, stop. Wait a minute,
survived.
hold on. Now he might end up getting attachment disorder. Going into
Yes,
foster care.
because he lost his parents.
Yes, man.
He lost
Do you
his
understand
parents.
what happens?
Yeah. Now, fortunately, he has grandparents.
That's good.
So if the grandparents nurture, if he did not have any other family and he had to start bouncing around in foster care,
Be terrible.
he would most likely end up with either reactive attachment disorder or disinhibited social engagement disorder. Good call, D. Okay, so this 2-year-old, he survived because his father shielded him with his own body. The child was pulled from
That's what parents
underneath
does.
his father's deceased body. Okay, and this is what's heart-wrenching. He keeps asking for mommy and daddy because he does not understand
That
what
they're
happened. So what we're looking at diagnostically here is, of course, PTSD. The first 30 days is called acute stress disorder, and then after 30 days, if it lasts longer than 30 days, which in this case it will,
It is.
it becomes PTSD. Okay, so we're looking at PTSD,
Remember the ringing of those bullets. Oh my God.
all of that.
By seeing his mom fall down, then his
Right.
father's body. He's gonna remember the smell. He's gonna remember. Oh my
Yes.
God. That's what I want to talk. I get very emotional.
But here's the other thing. Because he's 2, there is the possibility that those memories might begin to fade with time because he's 2. It depends, because most people don't remember. I don't remember anything from 2. You remember anything from 2?
Mm-hmm.
You do? What?
I remember my grandfather picking me up with one arm and shooting at somebody.
Trauma.
Trauma. I remember that.
And so it is possible, as the D is pointing out, that it could
And they said I was
stick
like
with
2 or
him
3 years old when that happened.
forever.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So
He was shooting at my mama.
I'm covering this trauma.
Trauma.
Lord mercy.
Because I speak the unspeakable.
Yes. Trauma will make memories from even the age of 2
Well, we have some questions.
linger. Okay, because we cannot see. D had eye surgery that clearly didn't work, and I can't get my glasses on because of the earphones. So we cannot
Okay,
see
we have
these
a question.
comments.
If your daughter is listening to this show, does she ever have questions for you on some of the topics or terms used on the show, especially your
Will you say she got to move out?
especially your co-host new term for who? Yes, my daughter do listens to the show, and
Hold on.
she gets on me every week talking about, Mama, I'm gonna leave at your house. Actually, all 4 of my children listens. At least they say they do.
Especially D, your co-host new terms. LOL. This her kids are grown.
Yeah. It was about you, not
Oh,
me.
my baby. Oh, she's 3. She watches enough of this show for us to do the intro, and then she runs off and plays. She's long. That's Stacy D. That's Daddy, and then she's gone.
And she's over it.
Yeah, she. Oh
Right.
no, because we.
How difficult is it for children who are in home shelters to get adopted and adjustments for adopting parents?
Extremely difficult. There are literally thousands of kids in the foster care system. There are so many kids in the foster care system that the foster care agencies have to have events like adoption fairs where they bring out all the foster kids.
It's
not
almost
all
like
of them.
it was almost like us, our ancestors being slave on the blocks.
Yes, and people who are interested in adopting, they show up and they mingle and go from kid to kid to kid to meet the kids. I'm talking, it could be, even if it's 100 foster kids, it'll be 15 people looking to adopt. The vast majority of kids in the foster care system do not get adopted.
No, they don't.
And
they
some of the
age
things
out.
They age out,
And then when
ahead,
they age out, which is really, boy, what time we got? Because I get very upset about this because I feel as though that they've been in the foster care system, and the foster care system still do not do a good for them because they age out and they still have not even provided them with the tools that they need to be an adults out here. And I do want to say, because not only are JP and I'm sorry you guys, and got excited, but JP and I,
she's worked
both have been adoptive parents. I mean, I have twins. They're 41 years old, ladies, Janice and Sharice. Both of them live in Wichita now. And Gerald
have 2 boys.
And you have 2 boys. So not only are we up here talking about this, we have lived it, we have worked it, and it's just really, I really became a punk.
And you
really
work for a foster care agency
I was a
also.
foster care director. And yes, it's really bad.
So with you guys, you know some of the symptoms and some of the problems you're going to have with these kids. And you're able, but what about a parent? Do they get these parents training? Or
They supposed to. They supposed to. But it's to.
Yes. Let's. For those of you out there who couldn't hear the professor is asking, how are parents prepared for these diagnoses that the kids have? When kids are in foster care, they're in therapy, okay? And so, like, for me as a therapist, when a kid comes up for adoption, if someone is interested in adopting that kid, we have family therapy sessions all the way up to the adoption and then post-adoption. There are kids that I see in therapy who was adopted years ago. And so the adopting parents are provided with all of this information, because if you do not explain to them, listen, yes, he is acting a fool. Yes, he is resistant to you nurturing him. But once I explain attachment disorder, and it helps the parents to be more patient and understanding and can prevent the placement from disrupting. Explaining to them the key is to not put this kid out.
No.
The key is to show this kid that there are adults who can love him or her and care about him or her. That's what it's going to take in order for this adoption to be successful. So that was a good question, Professor, because, for me and my wife as therapists who were foster parents and who adopted, we already knew all of this clinical stuff. But the average person adopting a kid, they don't know.
But you still needed some assistance and some aid, though, because they're not even getting.
Our kids had therapy.
Yeah, but you still need some, like, a good case management to come in there and help and be there and
absolutely
give you a timeout every now and again, because a lot of times, even as being a parent, we as parents get times out, like aunties and grandmothers and stuff like that. But a lot of families don't want to take the foster child.
Which is where respite comes in.
Exactly.
And so for those who do not have family members who are comfortable allowing your foster kids to, like, spend the weekend at their house because they're like, look, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. Yeah. There's respite, which are foster homes who they are used.
Babysitters.
They're babysitters, but they're foster parents.
But they're foster parents. They don't went through everything, and things of that nature.
Yeah. So if a foster parent needs, like, a weekend off to travel or do this or just to get a break. They can put the kids in a respite foster home for the weekend. What they have to do is explain to the child, though, you're just there for the weekend.
And I'm coming
We're
back to
coming
get
back. Like because they need
Don't
to
be
know they're
like
not being
Sasha
abandoned
was.
again. We are covering. Oh, I'm glad you said that. We're covering this diagnosis because my baby's only 3, and apparently at 3 she ain't ready for all that mom and dad leave the country crap.
It was gone too many days.
We were gone too long. We traveled, went to Mexico. We came back, and my baby, the whole time we were there, she was crying off and on during the day. Night times was like, my poor sister was like, oh Lord. And my niece loves the ground that her TT walks on, but she was like, where is my mommy? Where's my daddy? And because she's 3. And so the whole we'll be back to
She
her
don't get
will be
it.
back for her whole life, because she's been with us every day throughout the pandemic. She has not been to, okay, we gotta wrap this up.
Got 2 minutes.
She has not been to like daycare since the pandemic started. So for her,
And she
when
wasn't
we
even
say
a year old then.
right. So typically when we say we'll be right back or we'll be back, she's like, okay, they going to the store, they're gonna be back in an hour. We said we would be back. She didn't know we would be back next week. And to a 3-year-old, their concept of time is not the same as ours. So that time seemed like weeks to her. And when we got back, she was clingy. If I take her over to my sister's house, I can't even go outside to the car. She's looking out the window. She's crying. She's clingy. Like, last time you left me at TT's, you was gone for months. Girl, I was gone for less than a week. But that it was an attachment issue, and so which is the reason why I miss Janet Jackson and Patti
I wasn't even
LaBelle.
gonna say nothing because I wasn't even gonna get on that one for you.
We canceled our trip to the Essence Festival because my baby,
It's
she's
too
like
fast.
she can't handle it. Okay, so that's our show for today. I did not get to cover the other diagnoses that
But I did have a good cry.
you needed. That D.
Oh, and I just want to say that,
And you know you
that
done
my
got censored.
daughter, I know, and my daughter is a foster parent. She has her.
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
she's a foster parent. So you
that's
know,
wonderful.
It's just generational.
It is, because my mother was a foster parent. Like,
Yeah,
it is multi-generational.
it is.
Okay, so that's our show for today. Thank you for joining us, and remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything. God will give it to you. Bye bye now.
Thank you, and God bless.